Coach Hugh Freeze is letting the world know strength in numbers is not a sin.
Midweek report brought to you guys by our friends at the Rage Room. If you're in the Opelika area, 1510 2nd Ave, Opelika, Birmingham, 2616 7th Ave South. You can throw axes, you can break windshields, however you want to get your rage out. The Rage Room is the place to be. Lots of fun, great for team building or just a couple's night out, busting some stuff up. Visit the Rage Room. Let them know that the War Report sent you when you get to the front counter. Guys, you know the deal. Sign up as a patron. Your financial support helps keep the work that we're doing here going. $5.99 a month will get you there. Lots of great member-only benefits come season, which is just 9 days away, Ike. 9 days until Auburn plays Baylor and Waco. So you want to be a patron when that time comes around. You can also give the gift of the War Report to somebody else by hitting that gifted membership button. We appreciate all our members for helping us grow our Green Name gang. I want to thank the friends at the Rogue Shop. Visit rogueshop.com. Use code REPORT to get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. Pain, sleep, stress, anxiety, whatever ails you in life, the Rogue Shop has something that has you covered. Also, our friends at the Vibe Vault. You can find them at 3462 Crosswinds Road, Suite E in Phoenix City, Alabama. That's next to Marco's Pizza and right next to the Renfro Supermarket. Get fresh for the weekend with the Vibe Vault, not just barbers, lifestyle consultants. Also, setsforsociety.ai. They have custom personality assessments that start you on the journey to getting to know yourself a little better, how you relate to a team, how a team can relate to you. Want to be a better coworker, a better partner, just a better person? Setsforsociety.ai has custom personality assessments that can help you do just that. Visit them and get your assessment started today. Guys, that's it. It's time to start the show.
Yes, indeed. We are live here talking a little Auburn football. Of course, what else would we be talking about at the end of August as we are, as you just said, 9 days away? And this week, Coach Hugh Freeze addressing the media, talking about a litany of things. Before we get into Coach Hugh Freeze's comments, because there are a few of them that we want to go after. Mike G, I haven't had a chance to talk to you about this, and I do want to know your thoughts on this, and maybe you'll do something separate. Maybe we'll talk about it in depth when we do our Auburn Express. Auburn acknowledging a few more national championships recently. For it, against it, just really quickly.
For it. I'm all about it.
Okay.
And
all right.
I'm for it.
We can dive into it a lot more on the Auburn Express because I think that deserves a conversation in depth. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on it really quickly. Let's talk about this football season, though, coming up. Because all those championships from yesteryear are not what is most important right now. Is can Auburn find their way back to championship form right now? And Coach Hugh Freeze, on several different occasions during this press conference, talking about strength in numbers, right? The running back room by committee is going to be strength in numbers. The defensive line, strength in numbers. Linebackers, rotating guys in and out, strength in numbers. We're going to get a clip here of him talking first and foremost about the running back room and something that I have been saying for a while. The most complete back in that room is one Damari Austin. We will hear that from the coach himself. You don't have to take my word for it. Let's hear Coach Freeze talk about it.
Dan Peck, ESPN 106.7. Coach, you mentioned Jeremiah and Omar. What can you say about the picture at running back and sort of what are the factors that will ultimately decide who's out there?
DeMar is the most complete right now, along with Cobb, most experienced, understanding of who we are, what we do. What they're supposed to do in the RPO game if it's not given to them. And I am excited about, Omar also and Darrell. Alvin is going to be fine. He's been dinged up and hadn't been able to get many reps the last 4 or 5 practices. So hard to say much about that. But I think Damari and Cobb and Omar and Darrell are all getting better, every practice.
We've seen Jeremiah the last couple of years kind of be involved a little bit. How much has he progressed as a complete runner, and what have you seen to him maybe improve the most at?
Well, we'll see. I think he's going to have a breakout year. Y'all know we went through 3 or 4 days last week where all of our slot guys were down. So we threw him back out there like we did last year some, and he's got a good football IQ and has that capacity for us to be able to use him in a lot of different ways, whether in the pass game or now he's struggling a little in the pass game right now because he still has that brace on the thumb and catching is not real natural. But I think he gets out of that first of next week. So he's very versatile, and we can use him in a lot of ways, and I do expect him to have kind of a breakout year. He's probably got the best burst in the open field of any that we have.
So talking about the running back room, a lot of guys getting praise, but again, starting it off by saying most complete, Damari Alston. What are your thoughts on what you heard Coach Hugh Freeze say about his running backs?
It sounds like something we've been saying here for quite some time. Damari Alston is the guy. And I don't think it's never been in question in my mind that he's the guy. But hearing Coach Freeze say it, I'm taking you guys back to his first spring on the Plains. He said this. He said Damari Alston is a much better back than we gave him credit for coming through the door. Jarquez Hunter was the name, and he said Jarquez is the best back I've ever coached before he even coached him a practice. He went out and he would have led the SEC in rushing had he got the requisite amount of touches, 6.4 yards per carry, insane. But Damari Alston is no slouch.
Right.
And you and I have seen it. We've seen the big play capability. Was it Arkansas last year that he broke loose and then fumbled the ball at the end of the run?
Arkansas would be the game, yes.
Yeah, look, he can do that, but just hold on to the ball at the end. Auburn's just going to be just fine at running back. Now, he went on to talk about Jeremiah Cobb, and he said something that we have been saying about Jeremiah Cobb for a long time. He's a really good pass catcher out of the backfield. So good that they were able to plug him in that slot when they had got dinged up at wide receiver. This is a talented football team, Ike. I'm pleading with Auburn fans. It is okay to get excited about this season. It is 100% okay to get excited about the talent that they have and about the prospect of that talent taking this team beyond most people's expectations. The hope is a great thing. When a program loses hope, Auburn was dying a slow death under Gus Malzahn. Slow and painful. UCF subsequently died another slow death under Gus. Gus the hope killer. You hired Hugh Freeze, and what he did was he went to work at recruiting to, first and foremost, inject hope back into the program. Hope that your guys are going to be better than the other guys on Saturday.
Right.
That's Damari Alston, man. That's Jeremiah Cobb. These guys are way better. Like, nobody's talking about him. Ike, at media days, he didn't even make the ballot.
Right.
We couldn't even vote for him. Not that I would have voted for him, but I'm just saying he wasn't.
Yeah,
even
I mean, if I'm being honest, it'd been nice for him to at least be there.
Yeah, but like I didn't even see his name to be like, all right, like I can't do this, but at least he's there. And trust me, there were guys worse than Damari Alston at other positions on that list to vote for. Damari, if you're watching this, they left you off the list, bro. Go out there and show them why that was a mistake. Come on, man. Bust their asses. They left you off. No respect. No respect, Ike.
Yeah.
It's okay, man. It's time to get excited for this season. I'm not going to sit here and wallow in pity and be like, oh, man, Hugh Freeze is going to blow it again. And this. No. We should be done with that. Once hope dies, you're your team falls apart. And trust me, when fans start to lose hope, players feel that.
Yeah.
They read social media. They see the things that you guys say about them. You play a part in killing the hope. I will not go there before game 1.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be difficult, right, for people to not implode if game 1 doesn't go the way that they want. But that's going to be a crucial pivot point in the season as well. It's like, can you rebound from something where it didn't go the way that you thought it should?
Yes.
But yeah, at this point in time, everybody should be on board with, even if it's cautious optimism, right? Like, I'm fine with cautious optimism.
Yeah.
I think I just dislike the persistent negativity, right? Like, that's where I'm just like, yo, like, calm down, bro. Like, I get it. Last year happened. The year before happened. Can't ignore it. Facts are facts. They're on the record. They are on the jacket, whatever you want to call it. But this is a new season, and these players are ready to go out there and prove people wrong. Allow them the opportunity to do that before you get on board with trashing them.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think that's an unreasonable thing to ask. It's just wait and see. If you can't get fully on board, wait and see.
Killing hope before you get started is what loser fan bases do. Right? Like, that's a loser mindset. Now, if you're wondering, what do I have to do with how the team performs? Well, if you attend the game, you got a lot to do with it. How loud you cheer. How long you cheer without stopping. The raucous environment. That's what makes Jordan-Hare one of the hardest places to play in the SEC. The Georgia player said it at SEC Media Days. Whew, man, when we got to go there. You want to kill that? Kill hope. You fired Gus and you moved on to Harsin, right? And you fired Harsin mid-season. You know why? Because mid-season there was no hope.
Yeah.
The team was dying. And then Cadillac took over as interim head coach, and they beat Texas A&M like it was their Super Bowl. They should have beat Mississippi State, honestly, the week before.
Should have. Yep.
But come on, man. That win was about the hope that Cadillac injected back into the program. That's why a lot of people were calling for him to make head coach. People felt hope in that moment like they had never felt it before. And I think that this coach has hope that his star running back, Damari Alston, is going to go out there and do his thing. And he's got hope that the guys behind him will do the same. This is a really talented running back room.
It is. And I am increasingly encouraged by what I've been hearing about all the guys in that room. He talked about Jeremiah Cobb being able to go out there and play like a slot receiver, and the versatility that he brings to the offense and the burst. He said repeatedly now that he feels like Jeremiah Cobb is going to have a breakout season.
Yeah.
And if your number 2 running back on the depth chart is going to have a breakout season, that bodes very well from the productivity from that room. I am looking forward to seeing how this room's going to be utilized, because people, frankly, and for good reason, don't know that Hugh Freeze knows what to do with running backs. Is he going to be able to get those running backs the types of carries that they need to be able to execute well in the offense? But as you have repeatedly said, and Coach Hugh Freeze has repeatedly said, the years in which his offensives have been their best, the run game has had the lion's share of the snaps.
Yep,
It's been balanced. It has been
55,
more
45.
in the direction of the run than it has been in the past. And so this idea that he doesn't use running backs, again, we can talk about situational misuse or this guy should have been able to, and I agree with all of those things. It doesn't change the fact that historically this idea that he's pass happy that's not borne out by fact.
Yeah, look, it is not. But what people are missing is that in the more successful years, they're running more plays. So that balance of 55-45 doesn't really mean that you're running. Yeah, obviously you're passing less. They're passing the requisite amount. It's just the division. I mean, you know how it is, man. Like if you're running 100 plays, that's 45 pass plays. That's a lot. That's a lot. If your quarterback has thrown the ball 45 times in a game, he's thrown it a lot.
Yeah.
So, I can't wait to get to the comments here, Ike, because I got something for everybody today. I'm turned up about this topic because the game is near and everyone is trying to toss negativity Auburn's way. And even outside of Auburn, the Oklahoma media, they can't stop writing about Jackson Arnold.
Yeah, Oklahoma fans have found their way to Auburn content, and somebody in our comment section was like, "I haven't seen any negativity about Jackson." I was like, "What?
What?
Where
have you been?
Yeah,
are you on this planet?
They're falling over themselves to inject themselves into the conversation.
Oh my God!
Jackson Arnold and what?
Hold on, wait, I have one right here. The guy writes for Stormin and Norman. His name is, I had his pulled up right now because I was going off about it on our tomorrow.
Well, hold on. We got Jackson Arnold as a topic. Let's save that for the Jackson Arnold.
Fair enough.
They're absolutely falling over themselves to inject themselves into this conversation about what he won't be this season and how Auburn fans, they're warning us now what Jackson Arnold is. And I'm just like, all right, bro, like, cool. And I really do hope that he takes that personal. And I am looking forward to this trip to Norman more than I was ever before.
Bro, I love our comment section right now. It's amazing.
Yes, comment section is going crazy right now. I appreciate the Baylor fans that continue to show up.
Yes, I do too.
It's gonna be different after the Baylor game, not seeing you all just randomly appear here in the comment section, contributing a bunch of things to the conversation. But let's continue our conversation about what I was saying, strength in numbers, and his conversation, or his comments, I should say, about the defensive line and the effort that they're putting in to try to make sure that they are bought in for this season and the tasks that they have ahead of them.
Hugh, you talked throughout the summer at the beginning of camp, you want a handful of defensive tackles to be able to play 10, 15 snaps and buy into that.
Yep.
Throughout camp. How have you seen those guys buy into it, and just how do you feel about the depth and the rotation you guys got there right now?
I'll have to keep preaching it because I know kids, and I know that they read and they listen, and just, man, I'm hopeful. And DJ and his staff have done a really nice job to this point of, man, getting those guys to buy into their strength in numbers. And I've never had an NFL scout, not one, ever asked me how many snaps somebody played. It's about what you do with the ones you have. And to this point, man, they hadn't seemed to affect any of them. And again, they treat those just like they do the linebackers. I have no idea which two are coming out in the first team period, and it's just a constant rotation, of those guys inside. And I'm hopeful and that we can continue to capture them with that mindset of, man, I don't know how many I'm getting, but I'm going to the ones I do get, I'm going to do with high motor, great execution, and assignment is correct.
Talking about the defensive line depth and how he's trying to get those young players specifically to buy into the idea that you don't have to play 40 snaps to be effective.
Yes.
And, this is something that some of the older players have mentioned, and I call him older player. He's just a sophomore, but Malik Blockton was talking about this, and Keldrick Falk has mentioned this. James Ash, I just posted a small snippet from him talking about this. They're bought into the idea that what matters is the quality of the tape that you have, not how many snaps are on that tape.
Yeah, look, this is something that DJ Durkin has always done. And frankly, it's not new at Auburn. Rotating a bunch of defensive linemen so you can be fresh in the fourth quarter and beat your opponent to death with your D-line. Now, I had questions about this group going into spring. They lost a lot of experience, Ike. And it seems like they've come along really well. And like I know, the difference between the SEC and all the other conferences for a really, really, really long time was the guys down in the trenches. I'll take you back to the 2010 national title game. That was an ugly game, by the way. Offensively, there was nothing to write home about from either team. But you know what I remember? I remember Nick Fairley wrecking the Oregon offensive line so badly that when they were trying to run that read option, Darren Thomas didn't know what the hell to do. And if he had handed it off to Michael James, he might have scored. But he didn't. And the result of the play was a sack. Subsequently, they failed to score a touchdown. Nick Fairley was the difference in that game, man. They had no answer.
He was absolutely the difference in that game. Nick Fairley, not having Nick Fairley on that defense would have probably resulted in Auburn not having a national championship.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Malik Blockton, I'm looking at you. He looked ready last spring when I saw him, and I was like, oh, my goodness, this guy's a monster. Is he going to play to his potential? Who's the next Nick Fairley, man? It's been a long, who's the next
Derek Brown.
Derek Brown. Who's the next Marlon Davidson? These are the types of D linemen that we've been used to. NFL guys. We need the next one.
Yeah. And I do think that Auburn has some guys up front that could potentially fit the mold of that as game wreckers. I talked a little bit about Malik Blockton as I was doing my PFF countdown of players. And what he did best was an interior pass rusher. And I think that he can be a guy that can really get out there if he doesn't have to play 40 snaps in the game and he's going to play 20, 25 snaps. And those snaps are situational. That improves your ability. The thing that everybody's raving about with this defense and why they're worried is third downs, right?
Yep.
Well, if you've got guys who can be specialists on third down, you get them in third and long, and you're not playing a tempo team that's going to hurt, and you've got time to rotate guys in.
Disrupt.
Yeah, you can get guys who that's what they're going to that's their specialty. I'm going to come in here, and this offensive line is going to have an absolute. There was a They were talking about different packages that they have for the pass rush where they kicking Keldrick Falk inside and having Amaris on the outside and Keyron Craw. They've got different guys that they can rotate along different places that can get into those third down situations and really make it tough for offensive lines to figure out what's going on. If you've got that level of versatility with your defensive line and the packages that you can put out there, then you will be in a good situation as a defense to be disruptive on third down in the way that you have not been in a while.
Let me take you back to the 2010 Iron Bowl. Nick Fairley busts through the left tackle, sacks the quarterback, forces a fumble, and then collects it himself.
Yeah.
Where is that?
Right.
Those moments defined Auburn's season. And without them, you don't have a national title this century. Come on, man. I'm going back to what I said in the first part of the show about hope. Never giving up. Antoine Carter running down Mark Ingram in the open field to punch the ball out of the end zone.
Yeah.
If Alabama scores on that drive, there is no Cam back. Cam did his thing, but there were about a handful of other just don't give up hope plays in that game that allowed Auburn to win.
Yeah.
I want to see this team play like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's about seizing opportunities and moments. That defense was super opportunistic that season. Not the most imposing defense where they were shutting teams down because a lot of close games in that season. But what they did was get timely stops, particularly fourth quarters when they needed to have it. Again, if you're going to put a knock on this defense from last year, it was we need to have the stop. They ran out of gas, right? That Missouri game, they get one more stop in Missouri and you win that game, right?
Yeah.
If I don't know that I can even blame them for many of the other games where they were put out there on the chopping block, but Missouri particularly comes to mind. Arkansas too. I think if you can get one or two more stops in that game, as poorly as you played, you get the win. Cal, you get one or two more stops in that game. You get a third down situation where you get them off the field on one of those third and longs. you get the win in that game, and you played like crap. But this year, you've got to have enough guys on the interior of that defensive line that 3rd and long no longer means we still have an opportunity on 4th down if we get close enough.
Name me a great year of Auburn football since '99 where Auburn didn't have a great defensive line.
Doesn't happen. No, you got to have them up front. But that is the nature of the SEC. You need to be able to play trench football. I mean, that's the nature of college of football in general. But when you have those guys in this league, it makes it where you can compete in every single game. As inept as it seemed as the offense was in the final few years of Gus Malzahn, because you had those two guys, Derek Brown, Marlon Davidson, you were in the game against anybody, right? You were in the game against one of the most prolific offenses to ever be on a college field versus LSU because you had those guys up front.
Yeah.
When you've got those kind of guys up front, it changes the trajectory of what your season can be because they will give you an opportunity in every game.
Yeah, those guys come up with very timely plays that get underrated quite a bit in college football history when you start talking about those better wins in Auburn history. Look, man, Auburn is one of a few teams to have since 2000 have multiple undefeated seasons, a national title, and multiple appearances in the national title game. And
yeah,
I'm sorry. Look, man, disrespect intended to Baylor with this statement. Where are your national titles and title appearances? You produced a Heisman, didn't result in a national title. You can do that at Auburn. That 2017 team, man, like that 2017 team should have been a playoff team. But Gus did what Gus does, right? The 2019 team with a competent offense contends for the SEC because that defense was championship level. Alabama fans argue with me about this. I posted this on Twitter. And chat, I want to hear from you on this one. 2019, we saw LSU have the most prolific offense in college football history. Not in debate.
Yeah.
Right? About 10 years prior, Oklahoma, in 2008, was it, I think, when Florida won the national title, Oklahoma was the highest scoring offense in college football history going into a national title game. I looked at everybody and I said, there's no way Oklahoma scores more than 2 touchdowns on that Florida defense. Absolutely zero way. Florida won that game 24-14. The D-line could not be, Florida's D-line could not be stopped by the Oklahoma offensive line. The highest scoring offense in the history of college football, like 14 points in the national title game. Right. Auburn went to LSU and held them to that was their toughest game of the season. Now, they had a high-scoring shootout with Alabama that looked close on paper, but it really wasn't close because they had no answer for Joe Burrow. None.
Yeah.
Auburn muddied up that game. Bo did his best, but that offense just took a whole poop. And they still lost 23-20.
Yeah. All because, again, you've got the guys up front.
Yeah. Hey, look, man, I'm telling you right now, Auburn's D-line was a pain in LSU's rear like no other team that season was. And I point back, that was a 9-win Auburn team that year. It was ugly at times, but it got 9 wins.
Yeah.
They needed 2 pick sixes to beat Alabama in the Iron Bowl that year, but they got the win. All because of the balls on that D-line.
Here's the crazy thing. That's all people are asking Auburn to be this year.
That's all they're asking them to be.
Be that kind of team that goes and gives people fits week in and week out. Probably should win more games, but you're just not quite there. But you get to 8 to 9 wins. I'm not asking you to be a national title contender this year.
Yes.
Set the stage so that when 2026 comes around, we walk into SEC media days whenever they decide where the heck we're going to be. And that conversation is very different about Auburn football.
Talk your shit, man, right now.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly where I am at today. But I turned on my social media this morning, Ike, and I almost turned it right off. Because some of the stuff I'm reading is just so off base, and it's not where this team is at. Yeah. And I'll eat crow if they end up sucking and Auburn misses a bowl game. I rarely disagree with Josh Pate. He thinks that Auburn's ceiling is playoff and their floor is miss a bowl game. I respectfully disagree with Josh. I do not think that the floor is miss a bowl game anymore. They'll win 6, but that's not going to get it done, though.
You have to be Oklahoma last year levels of disastrous.
Yes,
in order to miss a bowl game.
Miss a bowl game, yeah, right.
I mean, the team is way too talented to lose 7 games. It's just like it's gotta fall apart for that to happen. And I just don't see that being the case. But again, like you said, I will 100% come back on here and replay myself saying this right now. I don't see that happening. Man, I was a dummy, but I can't get with it this year, man.
This is why I say, when you start talking about Auburn coming up short of 8, I say nothing should be off the table, because it will be the mismanagement of talent that gets you there, not the kids themselves. The mismatch, something will have been badly mismanaged. I see Devin's comment. Sorry, sorry, sis. But at the end of the day, the D-line is going to have their say in how this season goes, and we have all belief that DJ Durkin has got this together. Everything I've heard, and look, man, I'm gonna put this out here because I feel like I'm ready to put this out here. Since Hugh Freeze has been at Auburn, Ike, the difference between how defensive practice has been run and offensive practice has been run is night and day. I bet players tell me you think they were 2 different football teams. DJ Durkin is meticulous. He is detailed, and he demands that you be detailed in your assignment and that you do what you're supposed to do. What does the Patriots say? Do your job. Yeah. That's all they do. They come with their lunch pail, their hard hat, and they do their job every day on defense. Every game last year, while the offense sucked.
But that's why I love the passion you're hearing and seeing from Coach Hugh Freeze this year, because I think he's getting to the place where he's like, look, man, this ain't acceptable. Like we can pussyfoot around this all we want to, but we have to be better at the little stuff. Yes. And if we're not going to execute in these small things, it's going to show up on game day, and we can't have that happening. I'm loving that.
Yeah. Look, man, I'm telling you, there's this team is bursting with the seams at the seams with talent. The D-line has a chance to be really, really good. And what happens? I talk about this over on Locked On UCF. They went 4-8 last year, but because they went 4-8, a lot of their talent got overlooked, and a lot of people are sleeping on them because it was so mismanaged that you can't see a route to even 6 games with the guys that they have. People underestimate how competent coaching and a good plan can boost a team through. And if you have the talent already, like Auburn has, multiple top 10 classes, a really, really good blue chip ratio, guys with football pedigree, you should be able to burst through any artificial limit that's been placed on you by people who don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Right.
I'm talking to you, Oklahoma media. So I believe that this team has what it takes to do what a lot of people don't believe they can do.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people believe that Auburn can make the playoff or win 9 games or even become bowl eligible. I got news for you. That might be a bad bet this year. That might be a really, really bad bet this year.
Yeah, I'm high on this team, and they're gonna have to disappoint me because my hopes are up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we there.
We are there. I got really worked up about this earlier today, and I've been looking forward to having this conversation on the show. Look, we tend to be very analytical, I think, here at the War Report. We break things down. We follow the stats. We talk to the players. We do the interviews. But some stuff is just about, you know what? It's raw passion for what you spend hours. I think I know people hate when I reference the Harsin staff, but he had a guy who was his director of football operations. His name was Brad Larondo, and he characterized it for me this way. He said it's about 900 to 1,000 hours of work between practice and staff for 40 hours of football in the fall. 1,000 hours of work for 40 hours of football in the fall. That's what it all comes down to. You work your ass off all year for that one moment, to show up in that one moment when it's fourth down and you need a stop, or your quarterback needs a little bit of extra time and you got to pick up that blitz, or you got to make that catch and moss a guy in the end zone for the game. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
This team has been putting in the work all offseason. And now the coaches just have to bring all that work together and make it equal dubs. The D-line is going to have a huge say in it. Now, I've said it again, I'm going to say it one more time. The difference between the SEC and every other league for years and years and years has been the guys in the trenches.
Yep.
The NFL guys will tell you that. The scouts will tell you that. They look at the SEC first when it comes to D linemen and O linemen. And it's not to say that you don't get quality players out of those other leagues at that position. But the draft numbers tell the story year after year after year. If you're Auburn and you're going to be at the top of your league, you have to produce that this year.
Yep.
No more waiting. It's year 3. It's time to see the results of the process. You ask for time, you ask for money, you ask for recruits, you got it all. Go out and beat the hell out of Baylor.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it because, listen, I already said I'm making that trip, but we need to pivot here. We need to get to our break. I'm going to get to some of your comments.
Yes,
when we get back from that, it's
So
time to
comments.
have the Jackson Arnold conversation because it's getting downright disrespectful out here in the streets, and I definitely want to talk about it. You guys are watching the Midweek Report. Make sure that you are liking the video. Not enough of that happening right now. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that. And make sure you share the content with somebody. We'll be right back after a quick word from the sponsors.
This edition of the War Report is brought to you by our generous sponsors. Golden's Cast Iron. Whether you work out, grill out, or chill out, you deserve the best life possible, and Golden's Cast Iron is here to provide the tools to help you do it. Check them out at goldenscastiron.com.
The Rage Room. The Rage Room is a place where anger and stress find their ultimate release. Set up a session today at one of the 2 great locations in Opelika or Birmingham by visiting opelikaRageRoom.com or BirminghamRageRoom.com.
This episode of the Midweek Report is brought to you by our friends at the Rage Room. If you're in the Opelika area or in Birmingham, get some rage out. Go bust some stuff up. Maybe a baby car seat. Weirdly, they have a lot of those that get donated. A windshield, a car. They have a car like at the Opelika Rage Room where you could just jump on the hood and just go full Mad Max, end of the world, zombie apocalypse type stuff.
That is the bonus scene from Street Fighter.
Yes. Oh, you showed your age on that one. Or if you're in the Birmingham area and you want to throw some axes or something, they got that up there too. 2616 7th Ave in Birmingham. Want to thank our friends at the Rogue Shop. Visit rogueshop.com. Use code REPORT to get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. Pain, sleep, stress, anxiety, whatever ails you in life, the Rogue Shop has something that has you covered. Want to thank our friends at the Vibe Vault. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm trying to grow a beard. And the guy, I'm not trying. I have grown a beard. the Vibe Vault is helping me with the process here. My girl got me some beard butter, so this thing is extra silky smooth right now. But I get it trimmed up at the Vibe Vault. You should too. 3462 Crosswinds Road, Suite E, Phoenix City, Alabama. That's next to Marco's Pizza and right next to the Renfro Supermarket. The Vibe Vault, not just barbers, lifestyle consultants. Also, setsforsociety.ai. Get to know yourself better today with Sets for Society. They have custom personality assessments that let you know a little bit more about yourself, how you can be a better partner, a better teammate, a better coworker, or how people can better relate to you. It all starts with getting to know how you think and how others can know how you think. Visit setsforsociety.ai to get your custom personality assessment started today. Guys, join as a member. When the season starts, there are going to be some member-only benefits, especially on game day, that you want to be a part of. Our paid member community has been growing. We need this to continue, and I'm making this somewhat emotional plea. Sign up, man. Our work depends a lot on you guys' financial support. It's $6 a month. I understand that may be meaningful money to some, so we appreciate your views regardless of whether you sign up. But for those of you who can sign up and turn on that automatic renewal, your memberships mean a lot to us, so we appreciate that. You can also help somebody else see what it's like to be a member if you want to be a part of the Green Name Gang. Y2K, man, you're in here so much, you might as well just go and sign up, bro. Just go ahead and get a membership for a month. At least through the Baylor game. So
he definitely has his notification bell turned on.
Oh my God, doesn't miss a single video. Or maybe
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. If he's subscribing, maybe somebody's already donated one to you. But check your email, brother. You might be Green Name already and not know it. But let's see if we can get 20 given away between now and the end of the show. Check us out on podcasts, all the podcast platforms. We are there, bringing you guys lots of great audio-only content. The Auburn Express, Uptempo, College Loop, Just a Sec, and the War Report Gaming channel. And we don't talk about this every show anymore, but check out our merch store, man. We got some fly stuff in here. T-shirts, hats, hoodies, bags, decals, all that stuff. Ike designs this stuff, man. It's great gear. I have some. He has some. We want you guys to have some too for the season. And don't forget our Born to Boog collection. So boog away with the Born to Boog collection. You can visit thewarreport.com to get your boog stuff here. You can see all the different types of things I told you guys we have there. Also, Ike, I want to mention you can find our written work at thewarreport.com. We are not just videos, we are articles too. I want to welcome Logan Fowler, our new senior writer on the website, to the team. He's done good work on the Auburn beat for a while now, but he is joining the War Report team, bringing you guys lots of great written content as well too. So just like there's some stuff that you can find on the podcast that you cannot find on YouTube. There will be things that will be exclusive to the website that you will not find in any of the other forms. So please head on over there and subscribe.
Please go over and do all the things that help us grow. Read an article, man. Listen, sometimes just looking at the articles is enough to be able to help us out too. So do that. Let's get over here into this comment section. Anthony Long is going to get us jumped off with a super chat who says, doesn't matter if we win or a loss against Baylor. How many offensive points does Auburn need to score against Baylor to feel confident in the O for the rest of the year? It's an interesting take. I've been in this space of like, I don't know that you have to win that game. It makes it a lot more difficult if you don't, but you do need to look good offensively and put up some points. Could be a bit of fool's gold because I don't know that Baylor defense is worth a crap. So if you score a bunch of points, I don't know that means anything, but I think that you need to get into the 30s in that game, man.
Yeah, I've called this game 38-21. I think that it looks competitive throughout the game. I don't think Baylor's a bad football team. I've never said that. So, I've expressed confidence in Auburn, but I've never been down on Baylor. I just think that talent wins, or I think recruiting wins in this one. And I'm expecting to see something from Auburn that we have not seen the first 2 years. We covered the team closely. We talked to the players. We talked to the coaches. We have a little bit of connection on the Baylor side, not a ton, but we've heard what we've heard from that program. And like I said, it's giving me confidence that Auburn can go on the road and get the win here. Incompetent offense will be the reason that Auburn loses. It won't be defense. It'll be the offense putting the defense in bad positions, turning the ball over, maybe even giving a defensive score to Baylor unexpectedly on a turnover. That's the kind of stuff that will lose the game for Auburn. But defensively, I expect those guys are going to do the job. So
we will find out 9 days until we get that answer. Next one here from Rigger Spoon, who says, Mike, can we be jaded with talented players and questionable coaching when we experience the 0-3 team not score a TD for 3 games with Caddy, Ronnie, Jason? I hope you're right.
I think you can be jaded. And look, when you talk about that 0-3 team, it's very personal to me because I worked on that staff. As a video, I videoed every practice and game that year, the bowl game. I saw that up close. And when you talk about not scoring a game until game 3 was versus Vanderbilt, and the player that scored that touchdown was Jarris McIntyre.
Jarris.
And I will tell you, I've told this story before, but Tuberville was pretty quiet at practice, Ike. You know, he let his coaches coach, and he didn't say much. And when they went scoreless versus USC, and then scoreless, no touchdown, they scored a field goal versus Georgia Tech. He was ramped up. He was turned up. And he said, we're going to go up to Nashville, we're going to kick their butts, and we're going to do it on national television. He didn't say butts. And Auburn went up there, and Jarris finally broke through. He did like a spin move and bounced off another player, and bam, touchdown. That team ultimately finished 8-5. They beat Alabama in the Iron Bowl. And, you know, you guys know the rest with Jetgate. And, I mean, it's a whole mess.
A whole mess is correct. But yeah, I mean, again, jaded, nobody's telling you to necessarily get amped up. I just want folks to stop being persistently
Don't
negative.
project
Right? Again,
that on this team, though. Like,
yeah, like just like say, hey, listen, wait and see approach is fine. But I just don't want the negativity to be a thing, man. Just chill for a minute, bro. Super chat from Anthony Long, Mike G. Undertaking the plea for hope, but when the fan base has been gaslit for 5 years, doubt tends to creep in.
I understand.
I get it.
Yes, I understand. I understand the mental battle and the gymnastics that you have to go through to try to be hopeful when every season starts. If you guys saw the segment we aired this morning with Taylor Davis, sideline reporter for ESPN, she said it. I asked her for her record prediction, and she said 10-2. And I started smiling, and she goes, I know I shouldn't every year. Even though I know they let me down, there's that part of me that won't let go of the hope that they are going to finally do it. And I think that there's something to be said about, you know, some people might call it delusion. I think that I'm closer to the side of faith. And if I were going to have faith in any team, it's this one. It's the one that they've stacked all this talent on. Now, I know a lot of people think, we're going to talk about it in a second. I know a lot of people think a lot of this depends on one Jackson Arnold and what he is able to do. But we'll see, man. I think there's a great opportunity here for them to get it done. If they should lose to Baylor, season's not over.
Right.
Regroup. It just means that I think it means they got to get 2 out of their first 3 in the SEC, which is going to be a tall task because it's going to be 3 of the hardest games of the year.
Yeah.
But you're at some point, you're going to have to win a big game. At some point, you're going to have to win a game nobody expects you to win. At some point, Ike, you're going to have to go on the road and play like a champion.
Yep. So in order to change the conversation, you've got to get a game that nobody expects you to get.
That's right. That's absolutely right. A lot of people, I watched the Crane & Co. predictions for the season for every SEC team this morning. And I can tell you, 2 out of those 3 guys, Jake Crane, his brother Blaine Crane, and our guy David Cohn, 2 of them predicted a win against Georgia. If Auburn beats Georgia, they'll have a real good season. Now, those guys also had some wacky predictions about losses versus Vanderbilt. But I'll take the Georgia win for sure.
Yeah. The Vandy guy that I interviewed, I think I put that out on podcast. He predicted that Vanderbilt would win again this year. So Vandy is feeling themselves in terms of what they feel like they can do this season versus Auburn. James Barnett says, fellas, this defense sees all the negative comments people are saying about our offense. They are going to terrorize teams because of it. Top 10 nationally. I will die on that hill. I'm not mad at the top 10 defense at all. You got top 10 defense. Again, you put yourself in a position to win a lot of football games.
I have been very consistent about saying that I feel like that's their ceiling, top 10 in the country. Yeah, I mean, they were really, really good last year. I think they were the 34th best scoring defense last year. Under the circumstances, that's phenomenal. 21 points per game. That's all they gave up. And somebody came in and they were saying, oh, well, it was bolstered. I think there was somebody in our comments. Oh, well, it was bolstered by, like the cupcakes on the schedule kind of bolstered the defensive numbers. No. We're not playing that game, right? Last year, this defense was phenomenal in the face of extraordinary circumstances. So if you look at what they did in 2024, I mentioned 21 points per game allowed, 21.3 to be exact, right? But in the rushing game, Auburn gave up only 117 yards per game. That was 6th in the SEC. I'm telling you, the numbers don't match where they finished offensively and defensively. In the passing game, Auburn gave up 213 yards per game. Now that's an average of 330 yards per game given up, which is good enough to win most games. 330 yards per game, that's it. Now, if
Problem
you
is
look
your
at,
offense didn't give you anything.
they didn't give you anything, right? So Georgia, who made the playoff, you know what their defense gave up last year?
No.
329 yards per game. 1 yard. They were 1 yard better than Auburn last year defensively in total yards per game. Alabama, who won 9 games but missed the playoffs, 320 yards per game. They weren't even a whole first down better than Auburn defensively. Oklahoma, 318 yards per game. Really good defense in light of a lot of crappy offense. Missouri, 317 yards per game. Texas was the best in the SEC at 283 yards per game. Obviously, they made the playoffs. Ole Miss did fairly well, 311 yards per game. But, I mean, there were only 2 teams in the SEC sub 300 yards. Auburn was right there in the thick. And I would argue with better offense, they're probably right there in the top 3 in the league. If they're on the field less.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that wholeheartedly, that those defensive numbers improve drastically if your offense pinches a couple of teams.
That's it, man. I'm telling you.
War Dank Eagle, happy belated birthday, Mike. How
you.
much do y'all think recruits care about championships that were won before they were born?
It depends.
I mean,
the legacy kids, if you grew up dreaming of going to a school, you care, right? And I'm talking about like ones that were won in like 1950. I'm talking about ones that their parents probably were at. If you're a recruit today, it is reasonable that you were born after the 2004 season. Welcome to being old, Ike. There are kids coming into college football today that were born after 2004. And if those kids come to Auburn, they've heard about that undefeated season. They know about that history. I think it does matter.
Yeah, I mean, I think it will matter more the further we are away from this claiming of the titles, right? Like, I don't know that it's going to matter in the immediacy because they were around when it went from 2 to 9, right? And so they're like, wait a minute, like that's not, so but once we're a few more years away and a few more recruiting cycles away from that, and you walk into that stadium and you see those things up on, displayed within Jordan-Hare Stadium, I think it's going to hit a little bit different then. But again, immediately, I don't know. 5 gifted War Report memberships from Robert. Appreciate that so much. Thank you. Felix says Baylor is Friday night. Baylor, it's Friday night. Do you know where your team is at? Us either. Stop hiding and come to the stadium. and don't take this butt whooping personal. Felix
Felix
bringing
feeling
the
frisky.
smoke.
Yes, feeling frisky on a Wednesday. I like
it. Deets jumping in. Appreciate you here. Jackson Arnold is chomping at the bit and is ready for some Texas Friday Night Lights. Then reloaded for a return to Norman. Can't wait to watch him ball out. War damn Eagle.
Man, we hope
Deets,
that's the case.
I agree with you. He said it himself. He's like, look, it's familiar. The Friday Night Lights of Texas, and he's ready to get back that old feeling. Travis Latham jumps in. I must know how B. Will feels. 42-17. War damn Eagle.
Okay, all right.
Let's see. Darius. People who cover Baylor are delusional. 35-21 Auburn.
Yeah, look, man. I hate to say it, but my boy Cam Stewart over there locked on Baylor Bears, or he gave them a bad name this year with all that stuff. That all that yapping with no facts. Yikes, man. Come on, Cam. We got to do better than that. It's okay to believe in your team, right? What you haven't heard us do on this show, hopefully, right? Y2K, if you're still listening, is you haven't heard us really crap on Baylor. Nobody on this show has said Baylor is not a good football team.
No.
Right? Good football teams lose games sometimes. Right? And sometimes they lose them by a couple scores. It happens to the best of them. So your belief in your team does not automatically mean disrespect to the other team and what they are. As I mentioned, correct. I think they'll contend for the Big 12. It's not the same as contending for the SEC crown, but they'll contend. ASU, you got to respect what they did last year. They were picked to finish dead last in their conference. They won the whole damn thing, and then they gave Texas a run for their money in that playoff.
Yeah.
All respect to them.
But again, to the point that you just made is respect for your opponent and love for your team can coexist. I don't feel as if Baylor's been respectful from some of their journalism. And that's where I get upset. It's like, bro, like, come on.
I agree.
Chill out.
They've been very disrespectful.
Be respectful, bro. But speaking of disrespect, there is one man who has received more there's really only been two names that have had a litany of disrespectful things lobbed in their direction in terms of Auburn football during this offseason. First and foremost, Coach Hugh Freeze has been getting a lot of it. A lot of it he's earned, right? Like he's earned the skepticism.
Yeah.
And Jackson Arnold, I don't know that he's earned it. Again, I've said this multiple times. Jackson Arnold did not play well last year. I'm not trying to convince you he was some Heisman candidate in the waiting. He just needed a little bit more help. He had games where he played poorly. The fumbling issues are 100% valid. His holding on to the football too long in situations, 100% valid. But let's not pretend as if he wasn't out there playing with dudes that they just picked up walking around Norman like, hey, bro, you want a jersey today?
Yeah. Taylor Davis said this morning. She said, Jackson Arnold doesn't have to be perfect. Jackson Arnold just needs to be comfortable.
Yes.
This year. I love that quote by Taylor. I think that is exactly it. He doesn't need to be Superman this year. He just needs to be comfortable and execute and let the playmakers around him make plays.
Yeah, that's exactly like he just needs to be the point guard out there, getting the ball to the score. He needs to be John Stockton, making sure that you feed Karl Malone. And you've got multiple Malones on this team. You just got to decide which is the one on this play that you're supposed to be getting the football to make a basketball analogy for you there. But let's hear Coach Hugh Freeze talk about Jackson Arnold. Then we'll talk about what some other people are saying about Jackson Arnold.
No matter what group we're in.
Hugh, when you look at Jackson Arnold and his ability to run the football, obviously you can't really do that. I mean, you don't want him to get hit. You know, you're blowing the whistle early. How do you sort of, I guess, evaluate the impact he probably will have on Saturdays, but he hasn't been able to show it during fall camp? Yeah. You don't want to hit him.
I asked Cam Newton that the other day because I don't know. It's you know, our offensive staff's very, you know, they're frustrated when you're in a scrimmage and you don't feel like you're getting maybe the yards that you would have gotten because the whistle's just getting blown and somebody gets near him in the pocket, it gets blown, and then you watch the film, you're like, I'm pretty confident he got out of this one. Now, I don't know what would have happened afterwards. I would love to see. I don't know how you do that really until it's real. We've seen enough tape to know he has that ability, and you see it out there. I mean, we called a few today, and you're still blowing it pretty quick. But I have to see the film, but it looked like I think you're clicking off 5, 6, 7 yards there, and not just him, Ashton also, and Deuce. So that's a really good question, and one I haven't found the answer to exactly how to accurately evaluate that until it gets real.
Talking about Jackson Arnold and his ability with his legs, really mostly during that clip. And one of the things that I have been encouraged by that I've heard from Coach Hugh Freeze is the proficiency of Jackson Arnold in the RPO game, because that is where Coach Freeze really wants to live. But his legs have proven to be something that they don't really know how to predict, and how much that's really going to impact the ability of that offense to stay on schedule as far as down and distance when you get into second and third down. What are your thoughts about what you heard Coach Hugh Freeze say about Jackson Arnold?
It's funny that he asked Cam Newton that question, because we heard Gene Chizik said that about Cam Newton in practice in that first spring where Cam was on deal. They blew it dead. And he said, now, would that have been a 5-yard run or would that have been an 80-yard run? We don't know.
Yeah.
Well, in hindsight, we know it was a bunch of 80-yard runs.
Right. It was a lot of 80-yard runs.
Yeah. So Cam was special. Now, Jackson Arnold is not Cam Newton.
No, Cam Newton is a freaking anomaly, and I am absolutely disgusted at the number of times people have anointed the next Cam Newton, not realizing there is never going to be another Cam Newton.
Physically built like a linebacker, but could throw like a quarterback and take hits like a D lineman. He was just bigger than everybody that tried to tackle him. That on his Heisman moment, dragging Patrick Peterson into the end zone. Yikes, man. Cam was special. But Jackson Arnold doesn't need to be Cam Newton to make his mark on college football. He doesn't. I think he can be Stetson Bennett. A good quarterback that can move, good down the field ball, a good deep ball, right? Accurate. And just find the playmakers and let them play. Stetson Bennett was nearly unstoppable as a QB. Go back and watch Georgia versus Ohio State. They don't win that game without Stetson Bennett. Not even close. Ohio State wins that game running away without Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, because Ohio State was scoring points in that game. You had to score points yourself.
Did you see the clip of Stetson Bennett getting the game ball after their preseason game with the Rams?
Yeah, well, I saw it because I was watching for Jarquez Hunter, but yes.
You're right, yeah. Fair enough. It was remarkable. This kid has been overlooked a lot in his life at almost every level of football. He was a walk-on. He didn't win the job. JT Daniels got hurt. He got a shot, never looked back. And he had a coach that recognized that he had something special in him that not a lot of players have. Does Jackson Arnold have that thing? I think that's what we're going to find out through the first 5 games.
Yeah.
If he's got that thing in him that really, because look, Stetson Bennett wasn't anything to call home about that first year when Georgia won the national title. That was all about that defense.
Yeah, people were still talking about whether or not JT Daniels should come back and take over the starting job.
Correct. So it was even though they won a national title, it was not all rainbows and sunshine for.
No, they could barely score in certain games. Like the offense didn't look good at all.
He went 8 for 12 in one game. That championship season. But the next year, I said this on a show we were previewing the season. Stetson Bennett is going to have to raise his game if they're going to go back to back. And Georgia fans were in the comments arguing with me. They thought their defense was good enough, and somehow their defense was actually bad. like I would say at very least they were on par with the previous year's defense.
Yeah, I think the defense that first year was kind of insane. Like they had a really good defense. I mean, as far as you compare them that year to the rest of the league, but I would put that defense the year before above that.
I would. Yeah, they came up with some really big plays for him though in that second year. But my point is this: he raised his game. He was not the guy he was the year before, and it resulted in back-to-back national titles. Can Jackson Arnold raise his game year over year? Now, as you mentioned, nobody is accusing Jackson Arnold of playing well, but we are recognizing the factors around him.
Right.
That year, whole wide receiver room got hurt. The O-line was a mess. They fired the OC. Like Oklahoma was a disaster of a football team offensively last year. And expecting Jackson Arnold to play, to look good in light of all that, as a matter of fact, I would argue he didn't look terrible. He did the best he could. You still beat Bama. He ran all over Bama.
Yeah.
So he still showed that he's got that thing. At some point that season, he showed you something special.
Yeah.
If
to come back after the amount of crap that he took from fans, media, and find a way to will his team to victory in games late that season, that shows a lot of heart from a young guy who had been like, you're talking about a guy needing comfort. Like he probably had his heart ripped out being benched halfway through that Tennessee game, then having to come back later in that season after basically everybody realized, well, maybe it wasn't you, it was us. Can you come back and play again? And finding a way to get a dub, man, that against a team that was on the doorstep of going to a college football playoff shows a lot of heart, man.
Yeah, it does. It does. And I think at the end of the day, when you look at what Jackson Arnold is, if he can come and just be comfortable, like Taylor said, and let's go at the staff. Some of this is on the staff. Get him comfortable. Put him in good positions. Allow him to use the playmakers around him. Allow him to raise his game to that next level. Raise the floor. And that should be good enough to win 8 football games. If he transcends 9 games, and if Auburn gets a little lucky, playoff. And I'm saying it takes a little luck sometimes.
It does. It does. You have to have 1 or 2 games where you weren't really supposed to win it, but you got there. Like, yeah, it's going to take that.
But you know the old saying, Ike, the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Right.
Has this team paid their dues in the offseason? We're going to find out. How hard did they work? How much did they study their playbook? How much did they study the other opponent? Did they become students of the game in the offseason? You know what was a lot? There were a lot of things that were disappointing about the Malcolm Simmons situation, but from a football standpoint, purely, his head is not in the game, man. I got to be honest. I was a big Malcolm Simmons guy.
Yeah.
But it worries me. It worries me about how focused he's going to be on Saturdays. Every single player, he's a big role in the offense. Fortunately, I think Hugh Freeze built this roster to survive the loss of a Malcolm Simmons. Tragic either way, purely from a football standpoint, I'm saying. But, I'm wondering if this team paid their dues in the offseason offensively. Defensively, I have no question. They paid it. They paid the price this offseason. Offensively, we will see.
Yeah, I mean, they had further to go, right? And so they would have had to work harder to get to the place where they needed to be, because there's just a lot of distance between where you should have been and where you are right now. And where you need to be is even further beyond that.
I think this is where a lot of people have an issue with Coach Hugh Freeze and the golf, because the perception of it from the outside looking in, is he paying the price right now or is he golfing? Because you got 2 straight losing seasons to start your Auburn tenure, and you've asked for patience and money at the same time.
Yeah, and you've gotten both of them up until this point.
Yes, and you've gotten both. So this is a storyline, and this is why I told people why I think it's a big hubbub about nothing. You have to understand that when you're losing, everything sticks.
Yeah.
When you're not winning football games, those kind of storylines stick to you. Right? When you're losing football games, the type of things that we're reading in the Baylor media, they stick in the Oklahoma media, they stick to you.
Yeah.
Now I started to tell the story.
Yeah, I'm about to say let's get into that.
There was a couple Oklahoma writers that I felt was like real out of pocket. They were real disrespectful. And this guy of the Stormin and Norman. Yeah, this is fan-sided, which I believe is SI. Dakota Gray, he wrote a few articles on Jackson Arnold and Auburn. And the title of this article is, quote, Sooners already have a big advantage as Auburn's offense spirals into confusion. This is a headline from the Oklahoma media before the season starts. What? Spirals into confusion? A little bit of the pot calling the kettle black after what we just watched last year from Oklahoma offensively. You fired your offensive coordinator midseason. That was spiraling into confusion. Dakota. Wow. He goes on to say, Auburn's head coach Hugh Freeze saw Oklahoma's mess of an offense last season and said, here, hold my Gatorade. Freeze had fans and media all kinds of confused when he recently tried to explain his offensive plan for the season that featured a different play caller for every down.
So first and foremost, that is pointedly incorrect. Coach Hugh Freeze did not
right.
that.
Taylor Davis explained this perfectly, and I think I've heard you explain it this way about like it's not uncommon to have a coach that scouts first down and one that scouts third down and then sends in their call recommendation, and then the head coach either calls it as is or calls his own play. That's not an uncommon thing. Now, the way you say it definitely has an impact on how people hear it, certainly. But it's not, and it's also not a new storyline. We have talked repeatedly on this show. He said it in post games last year about how multiple people called. Ken Austin called some plays. I called some plays. Derek Nix called some plays. He's been saying this.
Right.
Them reporting it like it's new news just is like, this is why you don't speak on other schools when you don't cover that school.
That is people who are reading social media blurbs and they're taking it too far when they see a tweet or they see a post, and now all of a sudden that becomes the story. Coach Hugh Freeze already cleared this up. He said specifically, Derek Nix is the offensive coordinator. He's going to be the guy. It's he and Derek Nix that have the option to talk to Jackson Arnold on a given play. But Nix is the play caller on Saturdays, is what he said. And he has the option to jump in and say, hey, no, I'm thinking about this and this here and there. How often he's jumping in there, I think that's a different conversation to be had. But he said it's Derek Nix. But as far as game planning and figuring out how we're going to attack this defense on specific scenarios, whether it be first, second, third down, different people have those different things that they're going to contribute to the game plan.
Yeah. The other thing again, this is just me speculating. There was a clause in Derek Nix's contract when he left Ole Miss that said that if he left for a job that was a lateral move that did not see him be the primary play caller, he owed his buyout.
Right.
Now, I think this is part of why Hugh Freeze continues to say this in the media, so that there's something in there on the record saying that Derek Nix is a play caller.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's as a head coach, it's hard to, if you are calling some plays, but it's hard to, it's just, I don't know. He's trying not to be a liar, but also make sure that he takes care of his guy.
Correct.
You know, Lane Kiffin actually poked fun at this from the end. I'm so happy that Derek Nix is going to be taking over play calling at Auburn.
He actually, when the whole first down is this guy, third down is this guy thing, he tweeted, he was like, he tweeted something, I forgot what he said about it, but he made a comment about that one as well. And he can't help himself, man. Lane Kiffin is a social media troll and he does what he does.
Yeah. So Dakota Gray, going back to this, he goes on to say, this time last year, Arnold was heralded as the future, at QB Ike for the Sooners as the former 5-star recruit. There wasn't even any fall camp drama around Arnold and Norman, but he was still benched by week 4 due to OU's SEC opener against Tennessee. Whose fault was that, Dakota? Was it Jackson's? Or was it the mess that Brent Venables put together on offense there? Right? He then eventually transferred to Auburn this season. Auburn's SEC opener in 2025 will be in week 4 against the Sooners, as we know. If Arnold follows the same timeline, he could be watching from the sidelines again like he was when the Sooners played his future team last year. Or even worse, he could lose his starting job right out in front of Sooner Nation. This guy's calling for Jackson Arnold to be not the quarterback by game 4.
Right.
Wow. Like, the fact that people can write this stuff, the last line was, week 1 isn't even here yet, but OU with its lone play caller and Ben Arbuckle and just one quarterback with John Mateer already has advantages over Auburn in week 4. Like, now, this everyone keeps trying to create a quarterback controversy at Auburn where none exists. Correct. Jackson Arnold is the quarterback. Hugh Freeze has been clear. And everything, like, I don't know a coach who hasn't at some point had a package for his backup quarterback if that quarterback had a different skill set than his starter. That's not crazy. And people acting like it is crazy. The second, the highlight number 2, Sooner writer number 2 I want to highlight is George Stoy III. This guy writes for the Sooner Scoop and On 3. So, look, he tweets, news out of Auburn over the past week includes having 3 different offensive play callers, not new news. A 3-way quarterback controversy. There is no controversy. The head coach screaming at the presumed starting QB. That's coaching.
Right.
And the school claiming 9 new national titles. False. 9 total, George.
Yeah, he was 0 for 4 on
every single thing wrong in that tweet. What?
Oh man, that is talent to make 4 claims that are pointedly false. Yeah, good job.
And said it with his whole chest.
Yeah.
Like man, you got every single one of those things wrong is wild to me.
Yeah.
But again, these are people who are claiming to cover the sports. Cover your own team, man.
Right. Like you will never, I will never get on here and say, man, check out that article I just wrote about Alabama. We might get on here and make a comment about, something that happened. We talk about them, previewing, next Wednesday. Of course, we're going to preview all the games that are coming up in the SEC. But I'm not going to sit here and leave that comment. If you're not going to do your research, then stop trying to have commentary on stuff that, just don't do it, bro.
Yeah, I stay away from commenting on teams I don't cover. Now if there's a headline or something where there's verifiable fact that cannot be disputed, okay, then you might see me comment on it.
Yeah.
But
at least get your facts together before making the statement. That's all I'm like. If you're saying factual stuff, even if I don't like it, then I got to acknowledge, okay, hey, listen, there's never been a Jackson Arnold detractor in our comments that mentions that Jackson Arnold fumbled the football a bunch of times. And I was like, no, he didn't. Fact, he did. we're not going to debate that.
But on the other side, Ike, how many people have come to our live streams and our videos and our social media to tell us how many times Jackson Arnold threw the ball to the other team when he had 3 interceptions last year?
Correct.
How many times have we had to correct that?
Let's just have a factual conversation. I'm fine with talking about the facts because they are what they are.
Yes.
But don't come up here inventing facts. Don't come saying this happened and wait a minute. That's not true. Don't tell me Sawyer Robertson is this immaculately accurate quarterback and he's so much better when you look at their completion percentages and they're comparable. Don't tell me Jackson Arnold is this turnover machine who continuously throws the ball to the other team when that's not true.
Yeah, look, he fumbled the ball a lot. But let's be clear. he also ran the ball a ton.
Yes.
Right? How much did Jackson Arnold run the ball? Well, let's take a look. Right? Last year, Jackson Arnold had 150 carries. 150 as a quarterback.
Yeah.
Peyton thought it's too much. And what that tells me is that he had to improvise a lot and take off because the offensive line was a mess and he didn't have anybody to throw to. Everybody keeps pointing to the fact that he held onto the ball too long, but nobody is pointing at the fact that he was playing with fourth and fifth string receivers.
Yes, and retooled offensive line that he was constantly under pressure. Again, I've pointed out the statistic about that offensive line. Bottom 5 in the country in their ability to protect the quarterback. Bottom 5, according to PFF, and that's who I use as the standard for all things when I look at evaluation of players and their whatever. If you're mad at that, be mad at PFF. Don't be mad at me. I didn't create the metric. All I said was when I go and look at this, your offensive line was, and again, they're one-ply toilet paper trying to protect against diarrhea. It's not working, bro. Stop.
There were only 7 running backs in the conference last year that had more carries than Jackson Arnold. 7. He was the 8th leading rusher by attempt last year. He had to improv a ton. And you're mad at him because he couldn't turn water into wine.
Yeah, I think that they thought his first name was actually Jesus Arnold, not Jackson, for some reason.
What in the world are we talking about, man? You gave up a ton of pressure on the quarterback. Now, I tweeted this out in response to Cam Stewart's whole like whatever about Jackson Arnold, because that clip was going viral or whatever, and I was just like, all right, we're missing a ton of fact here. But there were a couple things that I noted about Jackson Arnold that I thought were important, as it pertains to his Baylor matchup, but because we're talking about his rushing yards. Of the top 15 passers in the Big 12 last year, only 4 of them had a better completion percentage than Jackson Arnold had in the SEC last year. He would have been the 5th most accurate passer in the Big 12 last year. Right? He had a better touchdown to interception ratio than almost everyone in the Big 12 last year. He would have been tied for 2nd with Sam Levitt of ASU. Shedeur Sanders was number 1. He had a season. He had an Heisman-worthy season, right? And then the last point was not a single QB in the Big 12 was under more pressure than Jackson Arnold was last year in the SEC. None. Right? Arnold had a 40% pressure rate, Ike.
Ridiculous.
Insane. Right? Baylor's Sawyer Robertson had a pressure rate of 23.5%. He was the 2nd most protected quarterback in the Big 12 last year. And he had a worse completion percentage than Jackson Arnold by like 0.6. Come on, man. All that points to, we talk about statistics a lot, behind the scenes on the administrative side of the warp war. If we have good content, but a video doesn't well, it's something technical, right? Like that maybe we didn't do right. I'm telling you, when you have a quarterback that is able to do some of the things that Jackson Arnold did, but the rest of his numbers don't look great, it means something around him went wrong. But 62%, man, look, Nick Marshall was like 61% passer or something like that. He was around 62% at his best. He's a very good athlete. So is Jackson Arnold. I'm not saying he's Nick Marshall. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no.
He had a good offense. If you give him a good offensive line and some great receivers, he could do Nick Marshall type things at times.
Yeah, listen, Jackson Arnold has literally every tool to make this offense work the way that it's supposed to. He's got the quick release that allows you to hit those RPO slants. He's got the big arm that lets you throw the back shoulder stuff and be able to get it downfield and stretch the field. He's got the legs to be able to run it if he needs to be able to. He's got all the tools to do all the stuff. The question is whether or not he's going to be allowed the time in the drop back game, which has been a problem for the offensive line thus far against what we have termed to be a potentially, if you're talking about ceiling top 10 defense, okay, they're going to struggle. Yeah. Let's wait and see what he's got on Friday versus Baylor before we're ready to throw him out and say, okay, Oklahoma, you were right. But man, again, falling over themselves to go and try to throw stones at this guy is like, I don't know why. Like, why are you so eager to give think pieces and hop in comment sections and warn? I'm trying to warn you. Like, they are so much bitter baby mamas right now. He wasn't when he was with me. He ain't gonna be when he with you, and you just following behind him everywhere. There's have you ever watched the show How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah.
All right, so there's the episode with Britney. Well, there's a couple of episodes where Britney Spears was on there, and every time Barney goes and he tries to talk to a woman, when he walks away, she was mysteriously going up and crapping on him, and he walked back and the girl would slap him or throw a drink at him and walk off. Those Baylor fans are Britney Spears in this scenario, and Barney is Jackson Arnold, where it's just like every opportunity is like they're just following behind him, waiting to say, okay, who's the new chick he's talking to? Let me tell you about the kind of man you. It's like, bro, sit down.
What are we doing?
Find
man?
something else to do with your life, bro.
Yeah, I don't know what we're doing. This is remarkable amounts of ultimately football has to be played in 9 days. I can't wait because I can't wait to talk about the results of the actual football game. But Auburn has got to get their mind in the game. They've got to get in a winning mindset. And first and foremost, I hope that that's what Hugh Freeze has created this offseason is a winning mindset. Come to work every day. And, when you listen to guys like Tom Brady, he talks about falling in love with the process, right? Embracing the things that suck.
Yeah.
And becoming a champion every single day in practice. Being the best every single day in practice when it's only you and your teammates watching. Your commitment to excellence has to be greater than the next guys if you want to be the best. Because that one rep he quit on and the one that you put in could be the difference in the fourth quarter. Because he's gassed and you still got something left in the tank. Have they done that? Has the staff created that this offseason? That's what we want answered. What kind of football team are they going to be in the fourth quarter? If you've ever played golf, I'm for those of you who don't know, I'm a big golfer. I love to golf. I haven't golfed since I got sick. But what made Tiger Woods so good was that he trained like an elite athlete and not like most golfers trained. And if you don't know what it's like to play 18 holes of golf for 4 days straight, it is brutal swinging that club. Sometimes by the end of the round, my arm will feel like it's finna fall off. Every swing at the ball, but every practice swing, it wears on you. And why Tiger was so good was on the 18th hole on day 4, when everybody else's muscles are failing them, because golf is all mechanics. It's not about who's the strongest out there. But for Tiger, it was because he was strong and he was in better shape than everybody he played against. So coming down the stretch, Sunday Tiger, that's how he immortalized that Tiger Red. Yeah. Sunday Tiger was unstoppable. If he had a lead going into the last round, you were cooked. Because he was better trained than you. He put in more work than you. He became a champion every single practice round leading up to a tournament. Prior to picking up a golf club, I wasn't much of a golf fan. Matter of fact, before Tiger started playing, I wasn't much of a golf fan. But when somebody is so elite at their sport, it's hard not to admire it. Yeah. I'm not a big, I was never a big LeBron guy. But you have to, his commitment to being the best is something you don't see in sports very often.
Yeah, I was actually just going to bring up when you talk about the fatigue of doing a thing over and over again, how I don't think people appreciate how good Steph Curry is in that regard of that's why he's so crazy. Like, because in the fourth quarter, when everybody else's legs are failing them, he's still out there able to be just as good at shooting the basketball when everybody else is tired as he was when everybody else was fresh. And he's almost inevitable in that way, where it's like at some point in time, he's going to embarrass you. Like that. I don't know how many times I've rewatched that game versus France and what he did in that fourth quarter to close out the gold medal game.
Yeah,
but
man.
you
Come
can
on.
just tell he just had a different place in his ability to do what he does than everybody else in the world.
Yeah,
It's just different, bro. And like to the point that you're making, like some guys just have that ability to just be a little bit better than everybody else. And then some people have the ability to be excellent all the time. And it blows your mind. It's like, how are you this good all the time, bro? Like, that's just not, it's not normal.
Not normal. Well, you know how you're that good all the time. It's the work that nobody else sees.
Right.
Carmelo Anthony talked about this on the Team USA documentary on Netflix about Kobe Bryant and him wanting to work out at like 5 a.m. in the morning when everybody else
is
went out
just getting back to the hotel and crap. Yeah.
From partying in Vegas. And he was different. He was different in the way that he trained. Now you're talking about teenagers essentially, and trying to develop that kind of mindset for him. Kobe was the greatest because he entered the NBA at the age of 18 with that mindset.
Yeah.
Nobody was going to outwork him. Have they instilled that in these guys? Right? Because they have a lot of distractions that the athletes of our age didn't have. We got a lot more money. Like, go look at the player parking lot. It's ridiculous. They have a lot more time and money to get into things they probably got no business in.
For sure.
Because the resources are there to do it. And the kids who will rise to the top are not going to care about any of that. They're just going to be so focused on their craft. And I hope that that's what Hugh Freeze is bringing. Because I know that he's, to recruit at the level he's recruiting, you're going to have money. And that's going to be a part of that conversation. But you hope after those guys get here, the money becomes secondary because they already have it and they just focus on the game. I was talking to a UCF quarterback commit. His name is Kane Archer. Asked him about NIL. He said, man, we barely talked money. He made Rivals preseason All-American list. He's very, very good. Broke the national high school completion percentage record. But he believes if he achieves his purpose in football, that the money will take care of itself. Recruiting kids with his ability to have that mindset.
Those are program changing kind of guys for sure.
Yes, they are. Those are
as much as people want to crap on Diego Pavia, he turned down money to go back to Vandy because he liked the situation he was in there. He could have gotten a payday to play one more year pretty much anywhere he had opportunities to do that. That's it. You got to be kind of a different breed of person to say, look, man, I can get a bag, bro. That's not what I'm worried about. Like I want to be here in this situation because I believe in what they're building here. Listen, man, that applies to guys like you're high on a guy like Perry Thompson. You don't think Perry Thompson got people whispering in his ear, telling him this offseason, hey, bro, they didn't do you right that first year. You were supposed to be this and this and that. Here's a bag. Come play over here. You're guaranteed to be a starter. And he decided, nah, man, I'm going to stick with what I committed to this, and we're going to ride it out for another year. That's a different kind of guy, man. When you know you can get the bag, right? Like there are other guys who hop in the transfer portal because they're discontent and they ain't sure what the landing spot is going to be. That's not the case for everybody out there. There's some hell, Jackson Arnold didn't have to come to Auburn. He could have went a bunch of places. When you buy into a vision, it's a little bit different, and you have to have a different kind of mindset to decide. I know this program isn't where everybody thinks it should be right now, but I think I can change that.
Yeah. Look, man, that is well said. And if they did all those things right, the result should be a performance from a football team that fans can be proud of next Friday night. That's bottom line. If you did all those things right, the results should be that Auburn is a force to be reckoned with this year. The team that everybody's scared to play. When Game 6 rolls around and Georgia comes to town, what will they be facing? A downtrodden team fighting for their life? Or will it be the game of the century nobody predicted? Because Auburn is way better than the Dakota Gregories and the George Stoys thought. Look, man, I've never particularly had hate for Oklahoma, but I'm getting there. I mean, I know we got to get some comments before we get out of here. I just want to say, guys, it's all right to be excited for the season. It's okay to let yourself get excited for this season. These kids deserve your excitement, right? So, to the Rigger Spoon and a couple of guys who talked about being jaded, don't let your jadedness rob these kids of your enthusiasm because they need it. They didn't do that to you. They weren't here in 2003. They weren't here in 2017. They weren't here in 2019. Let them blaze their own trail, man, and just give them your all the way you gave those teams your all before you knew it was going to be a mess.
Yeah.
They deserve that. I firmly believe they deserve that. So
and listen, the Auburn family shows up, man. I think they're gonna pack out. They're gonna pack out the game versus that first home game versus Georgia. That first SEC home game versus Georgia is gonna be an insane environment.
Wow, that's crazy to think.
Yeah.
The first SEC home game is gonna be week 6. Damn, Mike.
Yeah,
right.
And it's gonna be
they only have 2 home games before Georgia, and they're against cupcakes.
Right. That environment's going to be crazy. I'm looking forward to feeling the Auburn family do what they do consistently, which is create the most havoc-filled environment that nobody wants to step inside of on that stadium, and it's going to be great. Let's get over here to these comments really quickly before we get out of here. We got a super chat from Exclusive TV says, gonna celebrate when B Will returns 42-14. B Will is trying, man. Listen, I just talked to B Will. I talk to B Will all the time. Of course, that's like my best friend in the world. But he is definitely making a commitment to try to get back and hang out with you guys a little bit during the season. So we'll keep you posted on his whereabouts in terms of that. Coming up here. Robert says, can y'all talk a little bit about special teams? Do y'all see the special teams as improving or again as a liability?
Yes. Look, Hudson Cock, and behind him is the McGuire kid.
Yep.
They're solid at punter, right? Obviously, Alex McPherson he got voted 13 preseason All SEC after missing all of last year. So that should tell you something about where Auburn is at kicker. And then they have a host of playmakers that can go back there and return punts. It's actually ridiculous how many guys that they have that can go back to catch punts and maybe break a game open. So I can't wait to see
that and the additional athleticism that they have at being able to cover in special teams. Yeah, I think Auburn special teams will be markedly better this season. I'm just hoping my biggest concern is going to be the penalties on kickoffs that crippled drives before they got started.
Yeah,
if they could just get out of that cycle of starting drives inside their own 15 consistently because of dumb penalties, I think you're going to put yourself in a much better situation.
Agreed.
Exclusive TV again. Malcolm will be fine. He will bounce back. I guess that was in terms of, or in regard to the conversation or the statements you were making about his focus. Rigger Spoon super chat here says, sorry, my jadedness kind of started in 2012 when I was hating life in Afghanistan and then watched that season.
That's fair. Yeah. And first of all, thank you for protecting our country. That can't be stated enough. Look, at the end of the day, we all are a little jaded. Auburn has hurt us all at times. But like I said, this is a new crop of guys. I just think they deserve our like unbridled enthusiasm for this season.
For sure. A couple of gifted War Report membership folks out here.
Yes.
Top Flight Security gave 10. Fire Freeze gave 10 as well.
Asked for
Thank
10
you
and
guys.
like 20. I got 20.
Yep. Thank you guys so much for that. Great show today. I see your comment here, Devin, about the RPO and drop back situation. We will get into that another time because that is a good topic here. I just don't know we have the time to get into that for sure this time, but we'll definitely talk about that another time. Make sure you bring that up again. But Mike G, tell the people how they can support the work of the War Report.
You guys know the deal. As we mentioned, you saw those gifted memberships, but if you didn't get one, just join. $5.99 a month will get you there. We appreciate everybody for supporting us financially. It's how we keep the work that we're doing here going. Look, I've seen some complaints on the podcast and things about ads. Guys, ads are how we get paid. So I know you guys don't like the ads. You can always skip them if you don't like them. But when they get filled, when you press play, we get paid and we can bring you guys more content. So, we're trying to change the relationship between our audience and ads. If you love free content, the least you could do is watch an ad. That's all we ask. So I appreciate all our members. And if you don't like ads that much, man, sign up for YouTube Premium. You won't listen to a single one. I want to thank our friends at the Rogue Shop. Visit rogueshop.com. Use code reporter, get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. Also, our friends at the Vibe Vault. You can find them there at 3462 Crosswinds Road, Suite E in Phoenix City, Alabama. SetsForSociety.ai. Get to know yourself with Sets for Society. They have custom personality assessments that help you grow as a person. Visit them to get your custom personality assessment started today. Guys, I want to thank our title sponsor, the Rage Room. You see the addresses there. If you're in Opelika or Birmingham, go break some stuff and let them know that the War Report sent you. We are on podcast. As I mentioned, I read the podcast comments now that you can leave comments on podcasts. The Auburn Express, Uptempo, College Loop, Just a Sec, and the War Report Gaming channel. Lots of great audio-only content for your eardrums. But help us there. Subscribe on podcasts, turn on automatic downloads, and just, listen when you have a chance. Even if you're not listening, man, turn it on, let it play in the background. It helps us a ton. We appreciate you. Every play, every listen, every download puts us one step closer to that goal of becoming the number one Auburn outlet that ever was. We are expanding our written content. We're doing a lot of things. It starts with what you guys do by listening and subscribing. Check out our merch store. Lots of great stuff there. Visit thewarreport.com to get to our merch store today. And check out the Born to Bug collection for the season. Hopefully Auburn is giving us lots of reasons to bug. I know that I'm going to have the zip up hoodie for the season. It's going to be my thing. That's going to be my thing. But it should be your thing as well too. So you can help support the work that we're doing by buying some merch. If that is the thing that you like to do, we'd like to give you guys lots of options there. But please go check out our merch store.
For sure. And before you get out of here, please make sure you share the content with somebody out there so that they can get on board with what we got going on. And hit the like button, man. Only 138 likes, a lot more than 138 people in here today. Make sure y'all do that. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are at the War Report on X, Instagram, TW Report is the TikTok. We'll be back at you guys with more content tomorrow because we're still out here cranking out content on the Auburn Express, and we have so much more to talk about before this Baylor game. 9 days until the 9-time national champion Auburn Tigers take the field again versus the Baylor Bears in Waco, and we will be anxiously awaiting that. But we are out of here until the next time, and as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.